Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie, dude. The speed at which I can do these is unsettling, to say the least. Anyways, we're doing sidearms this time. Sidearms are a former favorite of mine. I don't really use them right now, but that could just be because I got rid of all my good ones and haven't got a good one since. Um, Benefits of sidearms. Sidearms are very high burst damage, very high burst damage. I believe they have the highest amount of single mag damage out of all the primaries, like just really high DPS. Um, and they're very easy to use, as headshots are not necessarily required because of the amount of damage that they do. That high damage comes at a cost of you have to be pretty close to people. 18 meters is the maximum that you're gonna get as far as damage fall off range is concerned. At about 50 range stat, you're getting like 15 and a half to 16 meters on almost every archetype, which is not a lot of range, by the way. Um, which means you're probably in danger if you're using these consistently. Alright, preferred third column perks. Threat detector, because you're going to be close to people. What threat detector does is if you're nearby two or more enemies, I'm sorry, then you get a bunch of buffs. But the main buff is the reload speed because if it's going to be multiple niggas around you, you're going to need to have ammo to deal with all the dudes around you. Feeding Frenzy, same concept, it just requires kills. Grave Robber, you're going to be close to people, you might as well punch a guy and then automatically reload your magazine. Overflow, what about just not reloading at all? Same thing with Subsistence, same idea, different function. Demolitionist, Pugilist, Wellspring, these things do so much damage. If you can get a utility perk in the first slot, you can kind of just take that and get reload speed from somewhere else. Heal Clip, I think this is going to be really good because the amount of kills you can get paired with the amount of times you're going to have to reload, paired with the fact that you're close to people and need health anyway, I think it's going to be really good. Surrounded in the fourth column to pair with threat detector because again if you're nearby three enemies you get a bunch of damage. Does this thing need more damage? No. Will we take more damage? You damn straight. Elemental perks, all of them. You want all of them. The only one that might be a little difficult to deal with would be Hatchling and Headstone, but if you just get the right type of sidearm, then that problem can be solved because some of them are still pretty good at landing headshots. Adrenaline Junkie, Swashbuckler, Golden Tricorn, all those still work because you can use all of the ability spam perks, I guess, like Demolitionist, Pugilist, and Wellspring to help you get your abilities back to help you proc Adrenaline Junkie, Swashbuckler, or Golden Tricorn. Multi-kill clip. I think multi-kill clip is really good on this gun type because it can get you up to the surroundings damage. You just got to get multiple kills first, which is what you're going to be doing anyway. And because you can get a bunch of kills with one magazine based off the total damage, I'm sorry, the total DPS that you can get from sidearms in the first place. And then being able to lay into something that's thicker with the multi-kill clip damage is kind of the move. So yeah, I think those would be your best perks for sidearms. Now there's actually two type of adaptive frames, which is why they're kind of put together here. There's I forgot to do the rest of these RPMs. I don't know if I want to do it to be honest. Adaptive frame RPM. It has balanced stats. You get about 15 and a half meters at uh 50 range stat. It doesn't really stand out amongst its peers. It's fine. It just feels like the baseline sidearm. I prefer things that stand out to some degree. The 3 round burst ones, to be honest, all they really do is just kind of 3 round burst. I don't feel like the damage is much higher. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel higher. Um, and they feel like they're basically the same thing as adaptive frames. It's just it bursts instead, which just feels like killing shit with more steps, to be honest. Um, Aggressive burst frame. I like these because these do two shots, and they do a ton of damage with those two shots. Great single mag DPS. You should be able to kill multiple enemies with uh, one magazine, which sometimes can be a problem for some weapons. But this gun should be able to kill at least 2 to 3 enemies with one magazine. Uh, Even at like higher level content, I would imagine. It does have a lot of kit, which could make it harder to use. And they need a little help in the stat department because of that. But the amount of damage you get from it, I think kind of makes up for it. And you're gonna be pretty close to him anyway, so like how much gun skill do you really need when you're just jamming the gun inside of their throat anyway? Yeah, not that much. Alright, alright, I put the stupid RPM thing on there. Get off my back. So anyways, there's a lightweight frame sidearms. These feel really great to use just because of the stats. It just kind of makes sense. Pairs the frame itself pairs really well with the gun because lightweight frames of all frame types or of all gun types give you 2+ uh, tiers of mobility. So whatever mobility you have, if you pull out a lightweight gun, it gives you 20 more. Um, and being able to move around faster when you're close to things can be useful. It is a bit spammy to a fault. It's kind of hard to land headshots with this. My recommendation is just don't. Um, and it doesn't feel very powerful despite being very strong on paper, and that's because of the whole headshot thing. Yeah, it does a lot of DPS if you can land headshots, but good fucking luck with that. Um, there's precision frames. Ooh, I forgot to write the RPM. These feel like the Glock. They feel like the basic bitch not hand cannon, I'm sorry, handgun in the game. Uh, it does feel like they are supposed to be the high damage per bullet variation of sidearm, but that works for it. It does feel really good in that you can land crits with it. They are designed to land crits though, so this would be the one where you would need to land crits to make it feel good, which can be annoying when all the rest of them don't necessarily have to do that. It can feel a bit slow in the time to kill department, but that's because it has a slower RPM. But if you land those headshots, it should be alright. And then you have rapid fire frames. The 450s, these have the really, really high burst damage. They shoot really fast compared to all the other frames. They just destroy groups of enemies. It's just like really, it just kind of feels like a SMG. We'll get to those later. It's not accurate at all. So headshots are just out of the question. Don't even try that shit. And they have slightly lower base range than their peers. Excuse me. Dang. Man, these hiccups. They have a slightly lower base range than their peers, but you can still push it up with just a range barrel here or there or a range masterwork, that sort of thing. Not too big a deal. You're going to be close, and there's not a very big range gap regardless. I think it's like 14 meters to 18 meters, so you'll still be somewhere around 15 meters. So yeah, that's sidearms. Uh, as you can see, these are pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good. Not my favorite, but these are pretty good. I like them.